Hello everybody, welcome back. If you're new here,
Hi, how are you?
it's the anniversary of when I quit my corporate design job. I made a video about it. Check it out. Since I've been out of the office and have embraced my new slower work lifestyle, I've come to the realization that perhaps I'm quite a lazy bastard. I didn't like doing the work at my old job, so I quit so I can do something that's less stressful and also stay at home more. I don't really like to go out. Now I've replaced my one full-time job with two part-time jobs, one of which I do entirely from home, and I also work a lot less hours than I did last year. When I'm not working or doing chores and errands and other boring, necessary evils of being an adult, I'm resting most of the time, which means I'm either sleeping or I'm lounging on the couch watching TV, which is like sleeping while being awake. Because I behave like a couch potato most of the time, you might think I'm lazy. The most physical activity I do most days is grocery shopping or walking someone else's dog. Based on how most people view laziness, I worry that I'm wasting my time essentially doing nothing. Nothing other than doing the bare minimum. I mean, I still shower, cook, and clean regularly because I may be lazy, but I'm not a slob. I managed to clean up some of the clutter in my apartment, like I said I would. I sold my old bicycle that I wasn't using, and I used the space that it was taking up for a small dining table.
I'm a man of my word.
Plus, it was about time I got a real table instead of this chabudai shit. Chabudai, however you say it. I mean, what am I, Japanese? Hell no. I'm Chinese. So I did do something that I had been wanting to do for a while. But other than small projects like that, I usually don't do anything that's productive with my free time. I usually do nothing. I mostly stay home to sleep, eat, and consume media, like TV shows, movies, and YouTube videos. And when I'm alone with my thoughts, I think, is this a bad thing? Should I be doing more with my free time? According to society standards, absolutely yes. It's rooted in good old-fashioned religion. The Puritans, who I guess are the ones who founded this country, the Puritans associated hard work with morality. Like, the more hard work you do, the more morally upstanding you are as a citizen. And if you're not working or contributing your share to society, then you're a bum, a loser, a menace to society, and you're going to hell. In Christianity, sloth is one of the 7 deadly sins. According to Wikipedia, sloth is defined as a failure to do things that one should do. However, sloth pertains more to not worshiping God properly and not just general laziness, I think. I don't know. I'm not religious. For this video, I'm going to talk about general social laziness, like not wanting to work or go outside. I'm also going to try to figure out what I think is making me lazy right now at this point in my life, because this channel is primarily about me. I'm basically just going to try to justify being lazy so I feel less bad about it. I already know that being lazy is kind of selfish. Maybe this video will help me work through my stress issues. When I was younger, like 12 years ago, my God, I'm old, I had done what they said I should be doing. I went to college after graduating high school, I got a 4-year degree, I got a full-time job, I climbed the corporate ladder in my field, and I was miserable. I haven't even done the rest, like getting married, buying a house, making babies, and retiring in Florida. It feels like I stopped halfway down the traditional American middle-class adult path, and I just retired from it early. I'm 31 now, which is about half the average retirement age of people in the United States, and I already feel like I'm retired in the way I expected to be at age 65. My goal was to retire from traditional office work and instead slow down and spend more time at home, and I've already pretty much achieved that goal. My home is a 1-bedroom apartment in Los Angeles, and not on a yacht or in a mansion in the nice part of the city, but I don't want a home like that anyway. I get seasick on boats, and mansions are way too high maintenance for me. Plus, you'd have to pay property taxes up the butt, and it's just not worth it. I'm a simpleton. I like my 900 square foot apartment and my couch from Ashley Home Furniture. It's cozy, and that's all it needs to be. Although I've retired from traditional work, I'm not rich, and I don't know if I ever will be, and that's okay. I got the second half of FIRE done, the retire early part, and now I'm still working on the FI part. I know I said I quit FIRE because it's kind of stupid. Honestly, it still sounds like a pretty sweet goal to have in life. If I have a chance to be completely financially independent in life, then hell yeah, I want that. If you heard a little ding-a-ling and bell ringing, it's this girl. She's not mine, but keeping her alive and making sure she's healthy is part of my job. I'm just doing fire on my own terms and at my own pace, even if it's slower than what everyone else is doing. Which means I still need to work and save a lot of money. The two jobs that I have now to make money are jobs that retired people do just to keep busy and to not die faster of boredom or loneliness. And surprisingly, I'm still able to live fairly well off financially, even though I'm making way less money than I was at my previous job. To be honest, I thought I'd have to dip into my savings a lot more after quitting my high-paying corporate job, but ever since transitioning to this new work lifestyle, I still earn enough money to pay my bills, pay my credit card statements, and save a little bit each month. It's an amazing feeling, especially since I don't have to work as many hours to still be able to afford to keep myself alive. And I'm grateful that I'm lucky enough to be in this position. I don't have student loans, I don't have car payments, I don't have kids, I don't have a mortgage, and I don't have any outrageous medical bills, which are the biggest reasons why so many people in America struggle with money every day. So with that in mind, I don't take my good fortune for granted. I acknowledge my privilege. I'm not completely debt-free though. I do have credit card debt, but I'm paying that off in installments. I'm also happier than I was when I was working in my corporate job. That job gave me a lot of anxiety every day, and I couldn't wait to be retired. Sure, I'm making less money than I was before, but the trade-off is that now I have a lot more free time to myself. Free time to not work, which, as I said before, I spend doing the bare minimum. I like it that way because then I have a flexible schedule and I'm open to do anything or take care of any emergencies that may come up. However, there aren't very many emergencies most of the time. So usually I end up on the couch in my sweats, and then I feel guilty for not doing something more valuable with my free time. But what do I mean by more valuable? And why is that better? And why should I care? What should I be doing with my free time? That's what I'm trying to figure out. By doing nothing, I can really just clear my head and not stress about anything that's seems stupid to me. However, I've realized that I really enjoy doing nothing, and I don't really want to do anything other than live a simple, easy life. I think it's because I came out of a really stressful job last year, and now I try to avoid any and all stressful situations. And does that just mean that I'm a lazy person? I don't know. And if I am, is being lazy a bad thing? Apparently, but why? I don't think I'm bothering anyone. The dude was the laziest son of a bitch, like, ever. And he was a good guy. I'm not saying I'm like the dude, and considering what he went through in The Big Lebowski, I wouldn't want to be either. I mean, he was way worse off by the end of that movie. I still like the movie though. Most of my favorite movies are about sad, poor people. So what makes a person lazy? And is laziness really cause for social shame? To prepare for this video, I did a little online research about what laziness is and why people are lazy. I didn't do a deep dive at all. I read like 2 articles total. It was very light research, keeping with the theme, of course. One article defines laziness as a failure to act or perform as expected due to conscious, controllable factors, namely a lack of individual effort. According to this definition, a student who can't get their work done because of an attention disorder would not meet this definition of lazy, while a student who is capable of doing the work but chooses not to would fit this definition. Some key takeaways from the first article I read are this. Unlike a lazy person, a procrastinator aspires and intends to complete the task in question. So during my research, I discovered that there's a distinction made between laziness and procrastination. And it turns out procrastination is a lot more common than laziness. If you think you're lazy because it's taking you a long time to do something that you want to do, you're a procrastinator, which is not exactly the same thing as just being lazy. The main differentiator between laziness and procrastination is whether or not there's intent to do something. I guess procrastination becomes laziness if you just decide not to do the thing that you were going to do. The next key takeaway is, although people's natural instinct is for idleness or being in a state of rest or doing nothing, most people find prolonged idleness difficult to tolerate, meaning that most people prefer to rest and conserve their energy, yet they'll do anything when they get bored of doing nothing, I think. I guess it's saying that people are generally happier when they're busy because doing something gives them a sense of purpose, or a distraction from boredom or the intrusive thoughts. I mean, haven't you ever done something just for the sake of doing anything? Sitting in silence doing nothing is uncomfortable for a lot of people. Personally, I don't mind it. Next, some people fear success, and laziness is a way to sabotage themselves. I think this is something that a lot of people deal with. the inner saboteur. If you're afraid of starting something new because you're afraid of failing at it, then you may choose just to not do it at all because you can't fail if you don't try. And I believe this is where procrastination turns into laziness. Because once you remove that intent to do something, then you're no longer procrastinating. Now you're choosing not to do something despite maybe being capable of doing it. You can only get good at something after putting in hours of practice of doing it. And if that time commitment doesn't seem worth it to you, then you may choose to just not do it, and maybe that makes you lazy. Or maybe you just choose to do something else, something that seems more worthy of your time. Another key takeaway I got from my limited research is that laziness is subjective. And I think that's important to take into consideration. We each have our own abilities and limitations, and so one person's lazy day could be considered another person's hard day's work, and vice versa. It depends on a bunch of different factors like your own physical and mental limitations, and also how well you manage time and stress. In addition, and this is my own personal opinion, perhaps what we perceive as laziness is just a natural human reaction to burnout from work. And maybe that's what I'm experiencing right now, just trying to rest from all the burnout that I experienced last year. I did say earlier in the video that I feel like I'm retired, and when I'm retired, I want to rest, damn it. If I can't rest after working a lot,
then what's this all been about? What am I working toward?
I think at the end of the workday, everyone just wants to unwind and relax. Whenever you imagine people on vacation or in retirement, they're resting on a beach chair or lounging in their houses or fishing. It's natural to want to reward ourselves with rest or by doing low energy activities because it feels good, both physically and mentally. Being in a state of rest also means that we can conserve our energy to do things that are more enjoyable to us. Unless you're a workaholic who just can't sit still, it's unnatural to work constantly all the time without rest. Otherwise, you experience so much stress that you get burned out. According to Psychology Today, burnout is an extended period of stress that feels as though it cannot be ameliorated. If the stress feels never ending and comes with feelings of emptiness, apathy, and hopelessness, it may be indicative of burnout. I think most people's response to burnout is idleness or resting over doing activities that will give them added stress. Downtime is important for all of our health. If you're burned out from your job, then maybe you need a different work schedule or maybe you need a different job. So what isn't laziness is procrastination. Procrastination is putting off doing a task that you intend to eventually finish. So it's like laziness, but with the intent to eventually not be lazy. And there are several reasons for why people choose to procrastinate according to this article. It could be a coping mechanism. We put off doing something we have to do because it's unpleasant. And so we choose to do other more enjoyable tasks first. This is probably the number one reason why I procrastinate. I know there are chores that I have to do around the house, but unless there's an immediate consequence of not doing those chores, then I usually put off doing them until I have to. Like if I'm running out of clean underwear, then of course I'm going to do laundry. But if I'm boarding a dog and they're staying in my apartment, then I may put off vacuuming the floors because most dogs find vacuums very unpleasant and they freak the fuck out. You may also procrastinate because of your age. Younger people tend to procrastinate more because their brains aren't fully matured enough to handle executive functions like planning, decision making, and concentration. I know there are a lot of adults who procrastinate as well, but I guess most children just don't have the mental or physical capacity to organize a plan of action the way adults can. Also, when you're young, it feels like you have a lot more time to get something done, but when you're old, it feels like you're in a race against death just to get anything done. Habitual behavior is another reason why you might procrastinate. If you're used to procrastinating, then you're more likely to keep doing it. Habits are hard to break, and if you're a chronic procrastinator, then you may have a much harder time trying to break your old habits. Also, environment. If you're surrounded by people who also procrastinate, then you're more likely to do it as well. Procrastination is contagious. And in the work environment, it's like a social disease. I've worked with people who always did everything at the last possible minute, and eventually it just became normal to me and it affected the way I worked. I was used to having to make changes to something I was working on, or sometimes having to basically start over for most of my projects, which made my job extremely stressful. Energy and willpower, and also sleep. So if you don't have enough energy, like due to sleep deprivation, then you're more likely to procrastinate. When I procrastinate, it's usually because I don't have enough energy to do the thing I want to do, and so I just choose to sleep instead. Personality characteristics. If you're not conscientious enough to get something done, then you're more likely to put off doing it. So if procrastination is part of your personality, then you may just be doomed to procrastinate forever. Distraction. Although technology makes it easier for us to multitask, it can also distract us from doing other tasks. For example, if you take your phone with you into the bathroom, then you're more likely to sit on the toilet for like 20 minutes longer than usual, which can take time away from doing something else. If you're someone who struggles to get shit done, either because of procrastination or laziness, the internet is here to help. One article I read ends with 6 tips for how to be less lazy, and the other ended with a cop-out. Maybe they were just too lazy to give tips. They explain that it's really up to you to determine why you're procrastinating or why you don't feel motivated to do anything. Maybe you're not lazy. You could just be depressed. If you need help determining why you lack motivation, you could just read the 6 tips from the other article. I'll leave the links to both articles in the description. Personally, I think I'm both lazy and a procrastinator, depending on the task at hand. It's also possible that I fear success, and perhaps I'm using laziness as an excuse to not pursue higher endeavors for myself. For example, my YouTube channel, what you're watching right now. I personally put minimal effort into my personal branding. I don't even have a banner or any channel art because I don't have a brand that I'm trying to build. I know that to quickly grow my channel, I need to be consistently putting out videos and engage with my audience more, but honestly, I'm not interested in fast growth for this channel. Maybe that'll change later, but I doubt it. I'm okay with slow growth because it means less work and less pressure for me. It's possible that subconsciously I sabotage myself from putting in more effort into growing my channel because my goal is not to be uber famous. I think fame is creepy. Sure, fame sounds good at first, but I think eventually it would just become way too stressful and scary. I know I've said that one of my ultimate goals for this channel is to be able to earn money with my content. However, I know that at the rate I'm going, it'll be years until that's even a possibility, if ever. Right now I'm making videos for free and I'm not promoting them outside of my channel. Cause I mean, how do you even promote this shit anyway? Millennial woman complains about having a job in America. We're a dime a dozen, man. Unless you're a subscriber, whether or not you even see this video is up to the mysterious YouTube algorithm. So I think it's fair to say that I'm lazy when it comes to growing my channel. Sure. However, when it comes to making videos, I'm not lazy. I procrastinate.
There's a difference. There's a difference.
Even though they're published weeks or even months apart. I mean, when was my last video published? Like in February? Holy shit, it's already April. It might even be May by the time I get this out.
Ooh yeah, it's May.
I intend to keep making videos, but only after I've taken care of other more urgent and important tasks in my life, and simply just when I feel like it. That could be my inner saboteur talking. However, if I was pure lazy, I probably wouldn't be making videos at all. It's like creating art. It's a hobby. If you want to get really philosophical, in the grand scheme of things, perhaps I'm truly lazy when it comes to finding my purpose and reaching my full potential in life. I think one of the most fundamental questions we can ask ourselves is, what am I meant for? And what's the meaning of life? I'm alive! Great! What am I supposed to do with that? Maybe I'm a little bit of a nihilist, but I frequently consider that there is no meaning to life. And maybe this is just me wanting to avoid stress, but if nothing matters, then what's the point of doing anything I don't have to? What if it's just a random cosmic event that we all came into existence in the first place, and so we can just do whatever we want until we die? Like, who cares? I don't believe in heaven or hell. So who's gonna judge me? If the meaning of life is nothing, or arbitrary at best, then why should I feel bad for being lazy? I guess because it's selfish. When I have free time to kill, I usually choose the easiest option, which is to be a homebody. I stay at home and take care of me and my own. I'm of the impression that I can't do a good job taking care of other people unless I take care of myself first. However, by putting myself first, most people would consider that to be selfish and lazy. And I should feel bad for choosing this slow, simple way of life with minimal interactions with other people. But what if I'm just better suited for the slower lifestyle? What if I don't want to be a leader, a hero, or a role model for other people? And I'm not, by the way. Don't ever look up to me. Listen to your parents and your teachers. You may not agree with what I'm about to say next, but whatever. This is my channel.
It's not yours.
Given the choice, I think everybody wants time to be lazy, to some degree. I think that free time to be lazy, or to do nothing with no one, is what most people ultimately want at the end of the day. It can be in the form of sleeping more, meditating, doing yoga, fishing, reading, golfing, going for a long drive, getting in a sensory deprivation tank, whatever you like. To me, being lazy is taking time to slow down and clear your head. However, free time to be lazy is not free.
Now there's a hefty fucking fee.
Unless you have someone to support you, like family or a sugar daddy or mommy, you have to buy that free time, either with money or vacation days, which you earn from working at your job. And if you have enough money, you can also afford to do less work for yourself. That sounds weird. Let me try to explain. Most people see laziness as a bad thing, right? It's rooted in our society. Everyone needs to contribute their fair share of work. When you're a kid, you aspire to get a good job that will pay you a lot of money so that you can afford a comfortable life, provide for your loved ones, and build a respectable reputation for yourself. If you have a job that pays you a lot of money, you can pretty much buy anything you want. And after you've taken care of all your necessary expenses like rent or mortgage and your groceries, then you probably want to put your money into things that will allow you to rest or enjoy life outside of work. Things like hobbies, vacations, luxury cars, massages, anything to treat yourself. And if you continue to work a lot and get pay raises from your job, then you could get to a level to where you're rich enough to just start throwing money at all your problems rather than putting in the work yourself. You can pay to hire other people to do work for you, or you can pay for the technology to do the work for you, like paying for a maid service or Alexa. I believe money allows rich people to be lazy in their own way. Why cook dinner when you can just pay someone else to do it for you? Or pay to have it delivered to you? Why learn how to parallel park when you can just buy a car that does it for you? The more money you have, the more convenient goods and services you can afford to buy. And if you choose to continuously upgrade your life with all these conveniences and luxuries, then you have to keep working more so that you can pay for more, and so on. This results in you spending most of your time working, usually for other people, rather than having time for yourself. You might also become burned out and unhappy when you find yourself trapped in the cycle of work and consumption over time. And at that point, even if you wanted to scale back on work, you might not be able to afford it, especially if you owe payments on new luxury cars, a big house, and all the expensive shit that you decided to buy. My point is, I don't think people should automatically be shamed for choosing to work less just so that they can have more time for themselves. Remember, laziness is subjective. If you would rather spend most of your day working rather than resting, then do it. Whatever, it's your life. Everyone is built differently. Working more is probably way better for the economy anyway. Plus, the more money you earn, obviously the more comfortable a life you can afford to have, and if you have a good heart, you may even choose to donate some of your extra money to the less fortunate. So God bless you. There's no arguing that it would be very nice to be rich, but I find value in working less so that I can have more time and energy to cook my own dinner, and also to learn more skills for myself and just spend more time with the people I love. Personally, I hate that cars are being designed in a way that coddles and enables bad drivers. If you'd rather have a car that drives and parks for you just so you can be on your phone more while you're driving, then you deserve to crash and burn, and I curse you. You might think I'm lazy for spending most of my free time at home. However, I think you're lazy for buying a car that parks for you.
So the system's going to read the available parking spots, and it does that with some technology here, radar sensors and all these types of sensors, very smart.
Also, free time to do nothing is my luxury, and I'm enjoying it. I don't think you need to have a lot of money or a lot of stuff to be happy. I mean, I do believe that money can make your life easier. However, I think a lot of people can make their lives a lot more complicated than they need to be when they fill their lives with a bunch of material things. Even though I'm doing a small amount of work to keep myself afloat financially, I can still afford the level of comfort that I want in my life. If you're rich, you can obviously afford a much higher level of comfort than I can, since most of life's problems can be solved with money. But if you keep your life simple and minimal, then you won't need a lot of money anyway. I think it's easy to fall into the pressure of doing a lot more work than what might be necessary for ourselves, because if we choose to do less work, then we allow for other people to get ahead of us. But so what? Is it really that important? If you're worried about being lazy, my advice to you, which I got from this article, is to prioritize the things that are most important to you and to set the rest aside. You can start by asking yourself these questions. What are you willing to let drop? What are you cutting back on? Who will you disappoint? What social standards can you afford to let go of? If you ask yourself those 4 questions and you realize you can be happy doing a lot less in your life, then I don't think you have to feel pressured to do anything more or better with your free time just because other people are doing more. It's not lazy to not want to have kids. It's not lazy to not buy all the new things all the time. And it's not lazy to not want to work a lot, especially if your goal is not to be rich. But if you really want to be rich, then you will obviously need to work a lot. So if you really want to be rich, work a lot to be rich. And if you want to be middle class, be mid. And if you don't mind being poor, because let's be honest, nobody wants to be poor, but most people just are, then live your best poor life. Not everyone is suited for the same things, and some people are happier with more, while others can be happier with less. Comfort is subjective. As long as you're comfortable with what you have, that can be enough. People who fill their lives with extravagance and expensive things might just be wasting their time and money, especially if they're buying things to impress other people or to keep up with trivial social standards. Live your best life and choose your own adventure. If you need some time to be lazy, do it. Why not? Rich and clever people travel the world to find themselves, or they seclude themselves in a cabin in the middle of nowhere. I'm poor and dull, so I choose to stay home and watch TV. Because traveling sucks sometimes, and home makes me happy. To wrap up this video, first off, I want to thank you guys, as always, for watching and subscribing. At the time of recording this, I'm about to hit 500 subscribers, which is insane.
Who are you people?
Holy shit, thank you. Should I do a 500 subscriber special? I can make a video about anything. I chose to talk about laziness and procrastination for this video. Because lately I've just been feeling self-conscious about staying home and watching movies all day, instead of exercising more or volunteering my time for something. This video was pretty much me just trying to justify my couch potato existence, and I don't even know if I did that. If you think you're lazy and you're self-conscious about it, my advice for you is to try to find something that will motivate you or inspire you to get off the couch. It's a lot easier to finish your chores or meet your goals if you have something to look forward to. Otherwise, what's the point of doing anything? The only time-tested truth I know is that life sucks and then you die. So find things that make life suck less and make more time for those things. Especially if you have to work at a shitty job. If you need money, obviously you can't not work, but maybe you can find a way to make doing your shitty job more enjoyable. Just focus on what's important to you in life, what you're working towards. Because time is fleeting and you're getting closer to death each second, and once your life is gone, it's gone for good. If you have goals that you want to achieve but you struggle with procrastination, then just strive to do a little progress towards your goal each day. Even if you die before you reach your goal, I think you can still feel good about what you managed to achieve, even if it was just 1% of your goal. So, what is the meaning of life? I don't know. Maybe it's just to savor the little moments that are good.
Like this.
If you wonder why I don't upload to this channel very often, hopefully this video kind of explains why. I'm either lazy or I'm procrastinating. So, I'll see you guys later. Probably in a few weeks or months. Yeah, take care. Bye.
I have to go there. No.